Hey guys, this video is going to be on how to mod your Nitefinder into this. In this video I'm going to show you how I do mine, and I'll try to be in depth as possible. So first thing you're going to want to do is take your stock Nitefinder and take out all these screws and the one in the handle. So I'm going to go do that and get back to you. Once you've taken out all your screws, take out the uh, handle cap thing, and you can just pull the two halves apart, and now you can remove all the unnecessary things. You can start by obviously removing the start holders and all the electronics. I already pre-removed them for the sake of the video. So yeah, you just take those out. They're screwed in. Now we have the bare internals that we're gonna be modifying. So you're gonna want to take these two screws out, and I'll show you what to do next after I do. Once you've removed the plunger assembly from the shell, you should be left with this, and you can just take this out and set this aside for now. What we're going to be working on is the plunger, or the plunger tube. So you're going to want to hammer out those 3 pegs and pretty much just take out the air restrictor. And so I'm going to go do that right now and show you what the next. Once you removed your air restrictor, you should be able to see all the way through. And now the next step is separating all of these pieces. Usually they're all glued together, but luckily for me, this one piece wasn't. And so all I have to do is now remove the inner ring from, well actually no, what you're going to want to do is remove the top part over here. So I'm going to go do that and show you what it looks like. Once you've removed your barrel from this front piece, you're going to want to sand it down flat so a CPVC coupler can be glued onto there. Now a good trick that I use for this process is I push in a piece of CPVC and then I cut it off so that it's just a little nub stuck in there, and that gives me a lot more surface area for my glue bond, so it'll be a lot stronger. And you're gonna it's important to sand both of these perfectly flush, and so that the coupler will be straight. So I'm gonna go do that. Oh, and actually another thing is if you can just leave this piece in, it doesn't really restrict air that much, and it acts as a dart stop. So you can leave that in. You could take it out, but don't widen that hole much larger. So I'm gonna go sand these down flush and glue them on, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's finished. Alright, so I've glued these two pieces together, and I only used super glue. And super glue, you shouldn't really need to use epoxy because super glue is strong enough when it's used correctly. So like when it's sanded on both sides and clamped together, which I clamped it together, it provides a really good bond, and it's really strong. Like I can't break it, but I don't want to try. Anyways, the next thing you're going to want to do is to kill this dead space, because all of this is just dead space. So what I do is I get some half-inch PVC and CPVC. I cut off about, I guess, that much of the half-inch PVC. I sand it out a little bit, and I just jam the CPVC into the PVC, and then I jumble down these 4 prongs, what's left of them, and then I goop that all together. So I'm gonna go show you what that looks like. Alright, so I cut my piece of 1/2 inch PVC and I pounded some CPVC inside of that, and now that fits very nicely into there and kills out all that dead space. So I'm gonna go slather, I can't take it out now, there we go. I'm gonna go slather this in goop, and I'm gonna just push it in there and let it cure. Alright, I've gooped in the dead space killer, and now all you have to do to finish off the plunger tube assembly is you just put that back together. Oh, actually, you're gonna want to slather all of this with super glue, which I'm gonna do on camera. Make sure that you give a very generous amount because you don't want any leaks. Now once you've done that, just put it back together and let it cure for, I'd say, a day. But if you have clamps, then it's obviously not as long, but just let this cure for a while and you should be set. While I'm letting the plunger tube assembly cure, we can start working on the plunger itself. So what we're going to do here is we're going to replace a spring. I'm going to use a Home Depot handyman spring, and so all you do is obviously you just take off the screw, take this off, and then slip this on. But in order to hold back that extra power, this catch spring is not strong enough to do that, so we're going to need to replace that too with a stronger spring. These are K36s from McMaster. They're obviously way too long, but I'm going to just cut it down to the same size of the catch spring, and then just replace it back onto here. And so I'm going to show you what it looks like after this. So I've replaced the springs with the new catch spring and new spring, or main spring, whatever you want to call it. And now with that, all that extra spring, all that extra power behind it, you're going to want to put some padding on the plunger head. So I'm going to use a felt bumper thing. These are the kinds you put on the underneath of chairs so they slide around really easy. But this one's a little bit too big, so I'm going to have to cut it down so that it fits. Alright, so I've cut it down and put it on. And now the final step to modifying the plunger, is increasing the seal. Now you can find another replacement O-ring and just slip that over, but I'm too lazy to go find that, and all you really need is a little electrical tape. So what you do is you just take the O-ring off. Sorry, there we go. So you take off the O-ring, and I found that 3 or 4 wraps around here creates a pretty good seal. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to wrap it around, put the O-ring back on, relube it, and we should be good. So I've wrapped it. I wrapped about 4 wraps around the plunger head with electrical tape. Sorry, I can't speak. And now it has a pretty good seal. I'd say pretty close to perfect. So we're pretty much done modifying the internals, and now we're going to move on to modifying the shell. So the first thing that we're going to want to do while modifying the shell is to obviously minimize it. So what I like to do is I like to cut around this part first, and then come back with my Dremel and minimize it some more, like it's been in the giveaway Nitefinder. So I'm gonna go minimize this and get back to you guys. So I've cut down the Nitefinder along those first lines, and you could keep it like this, but I like mine to be more streamlined and I guess kind of more cooler looking in my opinion. I don't know about you, but this is just kind of blocky. So I'm going to go back using my Dremel and cut along these lines right here. And I'll show you what it looks like after minimizing your shell. You're going to have to widen this hole because the new coupler does not fit inside this hole. You're going to notice, yeah, it doesn't fit. So what you're going to have to do is take your Dremel and your sanding bit and then slowly go along and keep widening it. Sorry, I really can't speak today. Keep widening it. Oh my gosh, widening it, and keep constantly checking your the fit on your CPVC coupler. So I'm gonna go do that and show you what it looks like after it's finished. Alright, so I've dremeled out the hole, and now let me just put this together. It is pretty much perfect. Then how to get it pretty much perfect is you just have to keep slowly going, only trimming away a little bit at a time each time you sand it out, and then you should get something like that. Now after you've done that, the only thing left to do is to reinforce these two posts right here. And what you do is you get some sandpaper, sand it down the areas in front of the posts a little bit. You just sand it down, then you get your epoxy putty and then just like squish it into there and there. And once the epoxy putty is all cured and everything else in the blaster is done, you can just reassemble and enjoy. And once you've got it all assembled, you should have a pretty good knife finder. And I'll just show you the seal really quick. So it's almost perfect, not quite. Let me try to get that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it goes forward just a little bit. But anyways, that was my tutorial on how to make a knife finder just the way I do it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.